One spot left from Group D for the round of 16, and of course that's our last group from here in Burbank, California. Our last day in this studio. We'll be going on with Group E later from Cologne, Germany, but still one match left, and it's going to be a bit of a rematch, isn't it? I think the most important question here, we'll jump right into it, has Aegis healed from that last match?
Healed? That bear attack.
I mean, it's got to be devastating after that loss. I mean, the fashion in which you lose when you play against someone like Haas is, especially when Aegis showed us, even as spectators, that he was prepared. He knew what was coming. And it still just wasn't able to work out ideally.
I think his one big factor going into this is that he saw Marine Lord play. He did take a game from Haas. So now he has a 3-game sample of what to do to win. And then he has a 2 or 3 game sample of what not to do to lose. So he knows, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't proxy a factory and go toe-to-toe with the Cheese Master, you know? Maybe I shouldn't, try to be aggressive like he was, and he almost got caught out of position that last set, Marine Lord. He just has to play safe. He needs to, get into his cabin, lock the doors, close the windows, and just survive.
Stick the rifles out.
Survive.
Yeah. And that really is it. Like, we're making jokes, but actually, like, everything about Haas's game so far, skipping the mothership core, like, it's been kind of cool that he's intuitively been like, well, I kind of think I need 4 stalkers at home. Okay. But for 2 medevacs, there's no pre-built answer you can have for that doesn't begin with the mothership core. So if I'm Aegis and I want to make it out of this group, which he does, but I'm not Aegis, don't look at me that way, I'm not him. It's just about surviving the early game. And so far it's been very Stargate-based as well. Like, we were kind of like, we did see the Blink Stalker, but that was also a follow-up to Stargate. So Dark Templar, Blink Stalkers, it's not that much variety. It's Oracles and Void Rays. And if you know that, you can go into this with a little bit of a better idea of what you need to do, especially if you know that even when he expands, he doesn't take the gases, he doesn't build a mothership core, it's still all about that attack.
Yeah, it does seem to be. And it's odd to call it one-dimensional because it's not necessarily perfectly one-dimensional, but it is pretty written out. It's
early game damage or you're okay.
Yeah, exactly. And we saw Marine Lord adjust to that himself after he lost the game. He was like, oh, okay, wow, I freaked out a little bit in game 1, but now I know, just play it as safely as possible. And as you mentioned in Control, it is all about this. They both want to get to that round of 16. I mean, there's a lot to prove here. Aegis last season was like, well, I'm already happy that I'm here at the round of 16. That's all I could ask for. And he played very contently at the group stages for the round of 16 too, but right now he's like, well, now that I've been there, it'd be great to go there again. We saw him put that shirt over his chair earlier. He wants to go play in Poland, but I'm sure the same can be said for Haas, who was so close to even going out in first seed of Group D.
Very close.
Also, he did have to only prepare against the 3 Terrans, and maybe that's why we're seeing him really stick stubbornly with the choices he's made so far in this group.
I'm curious, though. I mean, we've seen... we've been having a good time with Haas, but he tried this weird in-your-face proxy gateway thing. I wonder if that was the beginning of something far darker that we could see in this series, like the true chaotic play. We'll have to see.
Could be. I mean, he, in some ways, if you're Haas, again, when it's do or die time, it does come down to one thing, and you have to do whatever it takes to get up there. And when it's a player like Haas, I mean, maybe he has another trick up his sleeve. And he really wants to get through. And I mean, I'm sure there have been stories of how much Aegis dislikes the style of Haas coming in.
Dislikes the camera too.
And he has to play him 2 times today, so it's not going to be fun. But look at this. Moonlight Madness actually gets left for the last map.
That's not bad. I feel like, and it's really weird because
well, you said it because you don't have to play him.
Yeah, well, Haas he picks Cactus Valley's second map, a map that he just lost on.
Yeah,
so it makes me think he's going to do something else, maybe? Aegis picks Coda. I mean, the vetoes make sense. Aegis vetoes Bridgehead. He vetoes Dash and Terminal. Those are the 2 weird maps, the weirdest maps. 1v1 maps, and it looks like we're going to the most normal map, Coda, but still a 2-player map.
Well, on paper, it looks like with the maps and just with what we looked at so far, with what resources Aegis has had, he should be in better shape than he was in the very first match that he had to play against Haas today. Looks like things are tilting in his favor, but we'll see if Haas has some more tricks up his sleeve. Again, it is the last match of Group D, ladies and gentlemen, and to wrap this all up here in the first 4 groups of the round of 32 in the Premier League of WCS, it will be Nate and Roddy.
To find out if the wheel of cheese can keep spinning on into the round of 16 or if the madness comes to an end here, Roddy, the Australian, the Gimli Terran, he will need his axe now to cut through this large wedge of Gouda.
We are starting on the most normal map, but is it ever really normal
Not when you're playing against Haas.
against Haas? Here we go. Early today, of course, this man spawning on the left top side of Coda was able to win this map. Will he be able to do it again? He's representing Root Gaming. It's Igus, the man from down under.
Had a pretty rough series overall against this gentleman
10 gate.
on the east side with the 10 supply gateway. He is Haas. Going for the aggressive builds.
I mean, he's doing the same build order as he did earlier today against Igus. Just back then it wasn't Igus' main base, but it was a 10 gate.
It is a little bit different. He has built it in his own base. Still aggressive, you know. He's powering it up a little more.
Very big series, of course, for Igus, who has a very good track record in WCS. You know, when people think about Igus, they probably think like, he's a pretty solid Terran, but they don't think of him as one of the absolute top foreigners. But he has made multiple consistent back-to-back runs to the round of 16 now of Premier League, and that's something that really has been kind of flying under the radar. That's very impressive. He's been one of the very few non-Koreans to make those back-to-back round of 16 appearances.
Yeah, he's always been a cool player to follow. I mean, I think the first time he really, exceeded our expectations would have been in his WCS America groups last year. We had like a really tough Protoss group and defeated the likes of Alicia, who was, not to downplay Igus, but looking a little bit better than him at that time. Quite a bit better.
He won his group, and back then we did the little calculation prediction thing as well, and there were like 2% out of all the
I remember that. We polled you guys.
Yes.
None of you believed.
No, only 2% of our audience back then thought that Igus would even make it out of that group, not to mention win that group. So he's been very consistent for quite a while now, and he's very close to making another round of 16, but he's going to have to go up against the craziest Protoss out there, at least in WCS. Haas himself. It's 10 gate into a mothership. Of course, Igus is good enough to realize, like, mothership on the way already. Mothership core that is. Okay, something is a little different. Right now, the most important thing on Igus' side of the map is get a bunker. As long as you have a bunker, I think you're going to be fine.
Yep, that is the ideal answer to aggressive play like this. You get the bunker set up, you're feeling nice, you're feeling safe. Stalkers can really threaten Marines when they do not have that static defense because the Stalkers, A, move faster than Marines, and B, they outrange them. So there's a lot of kiting potential where you can just shoot those Marines and run away.
And see, early game Stalkers do still have some regeneration as well if you keep him out of the battle. And that second Stalker just popped, I think. It's just been running across the map. The Reaper is already doing some serious work. A Reaper killing 2, maybe soon 3 probes. Like, the moment that bunker finishes up, okay, Haas is probably just going to run by again, though. This is a familiar situation, and I'm sure Haas is no stranger of. Neither am I, Nate, because I too sometimes run my first units across the map. But 4 probes, that's more than you want to lose. That's more than you ever want to lose against the Reaper.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage to take. The Marines...
What? Missile turret?
Running to the side. Yeah, he wants to get that turret. I mean, he knows it's going to be a Stargate follow-up at some point as well. It's quite interesting, though. He steps back, and this is really tough. Okay, now there's 4 Marines. He can actually contest the Mothership Core. Really important moment in this game to push that Mothership Core back, as it will allow these Marines to stay alive and help fight against the Stalker with the SCVs. He's got that command center and that bunker still in place.
Where's that second Stalker? I don't get it. He had a second Stalker.
He was chasing the Reaper.
What?
Chasing ghosts, Roddy. Chasing ghosts.
Okay, that's kind of a weird play by Haas, I feel. I kind of feel like with the play that he made with the Stalker and the Mothership Core, I think what he's hoping for is that he can fight the first 2 Marines, then kill them, and then kill the next 2 Marines. But Igus did such a good job in making sure he didn't start fighting until he had 4 Marines, and that's just a little bit too much damage, too much HP to handle for Haas. So safe to say, a very good opening for our Aussie Terran, who's not even going to open up with the Oracle this time, Nate. It's just straight into Void Race.
Yeah, this build is pretty crazy out of Haas.
Shocking words, Nate.
Yeah, but the funny part was I actually talked to Igus during the last series while Marine Lord was playing against us, and I was like, what did you really expect coming into this series against him? Because you didn't really do any weird stuff. And Igus is like, well, to be honest, I found his Korean barcode account, and he's done literally just this build every single game for the last month against Terran. So he had an idea of what's coming, but he still manages to look so threatening.
I think it's a little bit risky to go for this proxy factory. Hawk mentioned that at the analysis desk. I think it's just the best idea ever when you play against a play like this is you sit at your 1 base, just make a lot of Marines. The moment you have 2 medevacs full of stim bio, there is almost nothing that 1 base Protoss or that a 1 base Protoss can deal with unless you get very lucky with Blink Stalkers or a good force field somewhere, some way. Of course, Widow Mines can be a great option, don't get me wrong. There is no detection on the map currently. There is no Forge, there is no Mothership Core. If one Widow Mine makes it into the main base, that is a great play. I just feel it's oh, there is a Mothership Core actually. I just feel like it's not the safest play out there.
Yeah, it's going to be very tricky because IGAs, I think you still need to get a few more bunkers, excuse me, to help lock this down. But now you don't have the defensive capabilities of the Widow Mines, and without an Oracle, there's no detection to actually deal with Widow Mines.
Yep, I'm not sure what he's going to do with this mine. He should just run it into the main base. That is the best option. Starport going down as well. But, you know, with 2 bunkers and a couple of SCVs pre-pulled, you should already be more than fine. And let's not forget that Haas's economy has really been hurting throughout the entirety of this game. A Reaper killing 4 probes and a couple of probes chasing it. Like, that's almost ridiculous. There is nothing here. This Widow Mine, oh my god, the Mothership Core won't die, but it does waste its energy. So no recall or something.
Oh, the mine is burrowing!
Yeah, I mean, there's
don't
nothing.
Shoot into the assimilator. Okay, he's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to shoot into the assimilator.
Yes, he's gonna right click on one of these probes that's mining on the mineral patches.
Oh!
He's gonna kill 3. That could have been worse for Haas, but now Haas really knows. He's like, alright, I gotta win this game real soon, otherwise it's absolutely over. He's gonna pull a couple of probes immediately. Aiga's not paying attention, but it doesn't matter. He's still gonna be able to get a shot off. Only one, but still.
Yeah, well, the thing is, there is actually nothing that he can do about these Widow Mines right now. He has to build an Oracle and send it home. That will make it very difficult for him to build units outside of Aiga's base.
I mean, I have no idea where Haas is going with this. This is absolutely unbreakable. Of course, he doesn't have much of an option. He's just bleeding probes at home. He's 18 workers against 35 right now. 46 supply against 72. What are you supposed to do right now, Nate? Like, just like suicide all your void rays on the bunkers, hope for the best, drop a couple force fields, but transitioning is no option, or like singing this game out.
Nope. The Oracle comes back, uses that detection ability to help clear out these Widow Mines. However, this factory is still actually over there. It's going to float towards the main now. There was another Widow Mine built, but how are you ever going to break this main? There's so many Marines.
Yeah, I know. There's a ridiculous amount of Marines. We're looking at almost 30 Marines already. The factory is going to be in the main base. It's going to make things even more tricky. I have no idea where. I mean, the only thing that Haas can hope for is Guardian Shield, great focus fire, and a couple of force fields where he zones out just the right amount of Marines that it really hurts Aigas, and that he somehow doesn't lose too much. But attacking upper ramp against SCVs that are pulled already. Now 2 Vikings as well, that missile turret or both missile turrets, making things even more complicated for the Void Rays. Yeah, I think this is absolutely unbreakable.
Yep, this is really tough. The Vikings do a great job, as you said. They're zoning away those Void Rays, peeling off a lot of their shields, as they do bonus damage versus those big armored forces.
And it's, this group is slowly but steady slipping out of Haas's hands. He got so close in game number 2 against Marine Lord when he took that favorable fight with his Blink Stalkers and the Sentries. It almost felt like Haas was a few kills away from making it into the round of 16 by winning his group. And now it seems like he's gonna go down 1-0 in a deciders match instead. And that's of course not that's what he was hoping for, but you know, I guess right now, you know, time is his friend. He doesn't have to rush for anything. He doesn't have Stim yet. That's the only thing that's a little bit complicated because he followed up with a factory. So Stim is going to be extremely late. But is it bad for him to sit on one base? He has, you know, he has full saturation, of course.
If Haas is on one base, I don't think Aigas cares that he's on one base. He's like, whatever, man. Worst comes to worst, I can always lift both of these off and then be on 2 mining bases. You will be stuck on one forever.
This will actually be the first time in WCS history that somebody will mine out his main base while being contained. Because without you know, Stim, it is indeed going to be a little bit hard for Aigas to put some counter aggression. Haas is probably wondering, like, hey man, like when I play on ladder, like they move out at a certain point, you know. They try to break this contain. Aigas is gonna float over his orbital.
Oh, I think he's readjusting it, maybe? I don't know.
Free volley for these Vikings. There you go. Very well done by Aigas. It's a lot of real HP damage as well,
Permanent
not just
damage.
shield. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. The Void Ray will never get those hit points back.
Vikings will
It's
eat a
kind
couple shots.
it's kind of weird to watch this, to be honest. He's actually, Aigas has chosen the most passive way to deal with this. Now he has, oh, he built 2 starports, and that's kind of weird. I just noticed that. It's a little weird. Okay, so the 2 medevacs are going to come out of the side, so he can use this to flank. He does not know.
The stuff like that can get risky though. If a force field goes down, like I think right now Haas kind of knows that maybe something's going on soon.
I
The
think,
scan is going to go
why
down.
not just send those drops to his base?
Because he doesn't have stim. He wants to kill this army instead. Here we go.
Well, he's actually had half his army attacking the pylon on the right side, and Aigas, despite all the damage he's done, his Vikings are taking a lot of heat. The Marines are finally coming from behind to hit these Stalkers. Needs to get rid of those Void Rays, and he will, but lost a lot, but he did it. GG. Aigas takes game 1.
The Marines, of course, had +1 as well, and that makes such a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
Still a little bit risky there. Like you said, he probably attack move with all his forces.
Yeah,
and
the
then
pylon was like baiting his Marines. I'm like, you actually need your whole army to fight this.
I think Haas could have done a slightly better job in like force fielding the ramp and killing a few more Marines, and then also force fielding the other ramp. Then maybe Haas would have had a small chance there, but Aigas was just so much richer than Haas ever was in this game, and than Haas would ever be. As the resource collection rate, well, he was doubling his income since minute 6 till the end of the game, Nate, and it was a 15-16 minute game.
Yes, we could see a lot of those Marines actually weren't making the push in these final moments, but the Stalkers also didn't get those Vikings. They were sitting in range of everything, and it was just ugly.
Yeah, Void Rays were shooting at all the Marines as well, rather than the Vikings, so the Vikings were doing quite a bit of damage. Of course, Void Rays melt Vikings like no tomorrow, but it takes a while before Void Rays kill Marines, especially if they're being healed or anything like that.
Yep. Unfortunate to say the least. As we get into game number 2, we'll be playing on Cactus Valley. This is it. 4-player map. There's not much shenaniganery that you can do here outside of a very late proxy like we saw him try against Marine Lord, but that didn't quite work out, Roddy.
I'm actually a little bit surprised that Haas keeps playing on Coda. Coda is the most standard basic map out there. It's not very good for these super all-in builds, in my opinion. I think it would be better for Haas to play on a map that's a little bit weirder than that. Cactus Valley is, like you said, Nate, a 4-player map. It could be a little bit harder to pull something weird off, but by now, Haas, you cannot afford any mistakes anymore. It's not just that he's becoming a little bit too predictable, which obviously, we joke about it.
He's pretty predictable.
But he's pretty predictable, but the execution is not even flawless. Did he have to lose his Mothership Core in a couple of these games? No. Did he have to lose his Oracles in a couple of the games? No. Should he have left his second Stalker at home to deal with the Reaper? Well, probably, losing 4 probes as a 1-base Protoss, that's so deadly, man.
Yeah, things did not go very well for a Protoss player. Now this man on the road to redemption, as he had some struggles versus Terran, but came back strong to defeat Masa. He is Aigas, the Root Gaming Blue Terran, and also, of course, trying to overcome his arch nemesis, aka Protoss, in this series.
This is one of his arch nemesis. On spawning on the right bottom side, of course, hailing from Taiwan, it is Haas. And of course, Nate, we all wonder, what is he going to bring to the show? This could potentially be the final game of the day, or will it all come down to one more game that would then be played on Terraform?
It's an interesting position. I want Haas to do something different, but I feel like he's just going to do the same thing again. I don't know what to think. Ooh, gas first.
Okay.
Ooh, oh boy. The fun thing about gas first versus cheesy Protosses, and why I like doing gas first on 4-player maps against cheesy Protosses, is if you go for something like a Mind Drop, you win the game instantly if they're doing anything weirdly like super aggressive, because they usually never get detection.
Only if you have a missile turret at home as well, though, because if this is a super quick proxy Oracle...
Yeah, Turbo Oracle will beat it, but Haas always builds a Stalker or a Mothership Core, and in the last game's case, both before he went for the Oracle. And I think that's actually too late of an Oracle to punish gas first.
It could still be a very good... Like, your mines will do a lot of damage, but the Oracles will do even more damage on the other side of the map. Yeah, unless the Protoss doesn't pay attention.
It depends. It depends. Depends on how Aigas wants to do it, I guess, because he should not think about taking a natural. Like, if Aigas thinks about expanding behind it, I'm like, no. Take the money you would spend expanding, build an eBay as you move out with your drop, and just do it.
Turbo Oracle, mate. As you say. I like Turbo Oracle, mate. Has a good ring to it.
That's what us Terrans call it.
Really?
Yeah.
The Turbo Oracle?
Well, there's like, when you play Terran, you look at basically what they build before it. Turbo Oracle is if you start the Stargate before anything. Like before Warp Gate,
yeah,
before
second
Stalker.
pylon proxy, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So the pylon that normally brings you from 18 to 26 supply, if that one is already there to proxy the Stargate, well, then in Nate's words, it is a Turbo Oracle, and it's pretty much the quickest Oracle a Protoss can ever get. Aigas should know this, and I like the gas first as long as he gets a missile turret, Nate, because I'll guarantee you, if he doesn't get a missile turret and he doesn't leave a mine behind, then I think Haas is actually going to win the game.
There's 2 ways this can happen, because Turbo Oracle actually hits fast enough that if Aigas builds his first mine and tucks it in his mineral line somewhere, Haas, Haas does that thing where he just flies in the mineral line, then he loses it, and it's like, well, GG. But otherwise, there's. If he moves out though with the mine too fast and he's in trouble, I think it's actually good that Igas' starport's kind of late.
Yeah, no,
he didn't immediately go for it, which actually works to his benefit.
You make a very good point there. This Oracle is going to arrive while the mine is still in the main base, so Haas going to have to be very careful. But of course, with the way that the factory is positioned, Nate, that should already give it away. Like if you see a factory, only a complete crazy person would fly his Oracle straight into the mineral line. As we are going to take a small break and not talk about anything that's going on in this game right now, the deciding game of WCS Day 4. Nate, these past 4 days, they have flown by.
It's been great. It's been so nice to cast WCS with you again, Roddy. And of course, been cool actually sitting on the panel with Will. I'll show no love to Jeff and Chris because I've hung out with them too much in the last month and a half. But
it's been a lot of fun. Of course, there will be 4 more groups being played of WCS Season 3, but those groups will be played over in Germany, the lovely ESL Studios there in Cologne.
What was your favorite group this week?
My favorite group this week? Today is the group where I had the most laughs, even though most laughs were off camera. I've definitely laughed the most, but the group that I enjoyed a lot is probably yesterday. I thought a lot of the things we saw yesterday were pretty damn cool. Because Group A, it was pretty clear that Pold was a favorite, and Group B, Hydra was Hydra.
Yeah.
But seeing Jaedong as happy as he was yesterday.
And Showtime's late game play PVZ was pretty good to watch too.
Yep.
I quite enjoyed those matches.
Absolutely. So I think yesterday, game-wise, was my favorite day. And this day is not over yet. I mean, it's brought us a lot of joy already, a lot of giggles, a lot of laugh.
Yeah, today has definitely been the most hilarious of the groups so far, and of course there's a lot more StarCraft action to look forward to, as you said, in the coming week as we move to Germany to finish off the round of 32. But who do you like the most that we haven't seen yet then? Like who else are you looking forward to watching playing in Europe?
Snoot.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely Snoot. I mean, Snoot missing out on the round of 16 in Season 2. He's coming back, man, and I think Snoot has been looking pretty damn good again lately. He made the players of Gfinity. Unfortunately, he couldn't go all the way, but I really have a lot of faith in Jens. I think, like when Hydra and Pold were, talking about each other, I was just sitting off stage, and I was like, or I think Will asked the boys, like, who else do you think can beat these guys? And then, I think Hawk mentioned Lil Bao, and of course I'm super excited to see Lil Bao, a runner-up of Season 2, and I'm a Protoss. But I was sitting there, I was like, Snoot! Like, Snoot is going to be great this season. Like, I know it. I know he's going to be great.
It's like, of the 3 players, like, if you're looking for, like, the non-Korean players, and you're like, okay, well, I want one from each race. Most, like, this year, you're pretty much looking at, I think, Bunny, Snoot, and Lil Bo. Like, you've got your contenders here and there, but, like, those have been some of the most fun players to watch, and I have to agree. I'm more on the Lil Bo side of things than Snoot, but I of course do like
Season 3?
I like Lil Bo a lot. Just watching him play overall.
Okay, I'm surprised. I think our Norwegian buddy is going to do very well this season. But I also said that about
It's not like I won't be heartbroken, if Snoot ends up winning Season 3. I think I'll be okay with that.
I know. I think we'll all be okay with that. Because that would probably mean that he will still make it to BlizzCon, even though he had a rough Season 2. The dream is still alive. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, a couple other players, for instance, I'm really curious to see how Zenster is going to perform after his amazing run in WCS Challenger Europe, where he had that great game against Firecake, where he truly made a fan out of me. Like, we've known Zenster for a while. He even stayed at our place for a couple of days. But I love, I'm in love with Zenster since that day, because he gave me a lot of joy just casting that game together with Kalaris. I know Kalaris was really pumped about that game as well, so I want to see how Zenster does. Of course, there's a few more, but I would say Zenster and Snoot, the 2 Zergs that I'm mostly looking forward to, Nate.
Yeah, I can get behind that. Some of my favorite non-Korean Terrans actually we got to see this week so far. I was really looking forward to watching Igas. I guess I'm a little bit on like the weirdly biased side, not because I think these guys are like the biggest contenders as they've had like here and there like performances this year, but more so in terms of because I get to practice and play with these guys.
And how did we not talk about the American Haas yet? Hitman.
Yeah.
It's gonna be super cool, mate.
That actually might be the highlight of this season for me, is just seeing what Hitman looks like.
Alright, all eyes on this game for now as the Oracle's heading to the main base. This is going to be extremely important. Haas has to be very careful. The moment he sees that factory, he has to know there is a chance there's a Widow Mine there. Haas, you're playing with fire. He doesn't go towards the mineral line, which is very smart. Because Terran players, they became so good in hiding Widow Mines in places, Nate, they should never be.
That's right. That's the mark of a good Terran, Roddy. Is you always want the Protoss to fly right into that mine when they least expect it.
Whoa. We're seeing something very different now. Haas is entering this with an expand immediately, and he's queuing up a Phoenix. That Phoenix is, of course...
I think he realizes he's being hard blind countered.
Yeah. He's like, hey man, on ladder they really don't do this when I'm playing with my barcode. This is not fair.
It's like no one ever sees us coming. Who goes gas first defensive Widow mine?
This is why I called over the admin. He's like, excuse me admin, my ladder games on my barcode do really look very different. It's like, well, that may have something to do with the fact that you're playing a tournament right now and people do their homework. And they see who they're playing against.
People have been watching you play this.
This Phoenix,
all
though,
day. Oh,
this is great. This is really a great snipe.
That is unfortunate.
Just drop the mine, pick it up. But then maybe the Medivacs will get might get out now. It has boost on cooldown, right? Let's take a look at the Medivac.
So he's trying. He's actually running back in towards the main. Does escape.
Good old boost, Nate. So
well, still can't leave.
What are we expecting from Haas? I'm kind of expecting a lot of Blink Stalkers with a Forge. Just cannon in each mineral line and then make a lot of Blink Stalkers, because Stim is going to be very, very late for a Terran that went gas first.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially because I think as Aegis, if you were playing against a normal Protoss and you were this far behind, like they expanded like this before you even started your command center, there's something that makes you want to build like a third command center sometimes, and I guess not against Haas, but it's still very tricky. And yeah, that fourth gateway is a little weird.
Yeah, I don't really get it. Like, does he want to bust him on one base, or like, it's kind of weird. The scan could potentially go down. Then again, Aegis doesn't have the sickest economy right now, so scanning does hurt. A Void Rays on the production tab, I was so wrong. I really thought he was going to go for Blink Stalkers here, because that just seemed better on 2 bases, but no, Nate. He is 4-gating with Void Rays.
How dare you attempt to understand something that this man is doing? How dare you, Roddy?
Alright, Medivac's picking up a couple of units. It's going via the north side. If Haas spots this, that would be absolutely sick. He does see that there is no Medivac anymore. He does see maybe that a couple of units are missing. He sees that the mines are missing. He could pick up that mine, because that's the only one that's in range. Vikings will try to snipe one Phoenix and almost get it, but he doesn't get it.
Not quite. Loses that mine, too, at the corner of the base.
Medivac's taking the detour of the century.
It's actually gonna... No. It's going to be able to make it all the way around, too. Doesn't look like Haas's star senses will be tingling on this one.
He does keep the units at home because he knows there are mines missing, and I think that's very smart by Haas. But now he's going to send it back again. It's going to take a while before this Medivac arrives, but when it does, well, then obviously the dream scenario for Aegis is that it gets a couple of very juicy shots off. Haas has to know right now. He's like, stuff is missing from here. Haas, you don't have to bust him. It's 2 base against 1 base.
Haas is just like, I'm programmed to kill.
Maybe he's going to try to bust because he spots that all these units are on the right side.
I mean, if you
lift up the mine,
I think trying to make a play here isn't a bad idea, just because he knows he doesn't have a bunker here yet. That you wait for him to bring all his units down, then you force heal him, and
How many mines? He said 3 mines? Oh my god.
Looks like it.
3 mines. Obviously, Haas's economy is about to take devastating amounts of damage, but he also has a very big army. Aegis, it's time to run, buddy. It's
that's a whole lot of Protoss. He's like, I'm gonna make this a 1-base game again. There, the Widow Mine's taking a lot of probes in the main. The SCVs and the natural of Aegis are being picked off. He really needs to save this command center. Void Ray is going to prismatically align it.
Not the greatest Widow Mine shots ever. Only 3 probes going down. The Orbital will live for now, but there's a lot of Stalkers there. There's still a lot of damage output. The force field was actually helping Aegis, in my opinion. Mines will get picked off. What happened to the other mine, Nate?
Did
it ever shoot?
Know.
There were 3 mines here.
The 3 amigos, 3 of mine goes.
Oh, it ran all the way home. F2.
He abandoned the expedition.
For how long it took to get those 3 mines to the other side of the map, killing 3 probes was surprisingly underwhelming, Nate.
Yeah, I was hoping for some fireworks.
Yeah. I mean, for instance, to put things in perspective, there was a Reaper on Coda that killed 4 probes.
I think Aegis is in a lot of trouble now.
Yes, look at Stim. Stim won't be ready up to the 14-minute mark. That's unique on its own, unless you're playing against Haas, then.
Apparently, that's just kind of what happens. But this 2 base, like he has like Haas must be thinking to himself, he's like, I'm saturated on 2 bases. I have so much money.
Look what he's building, Nate.
The mothership core.
It's a mothership core. He's like, shall I? And a Forge and Blink.
This is what it feels like to be rich, is what Haas is thinking. He's like, man, if I was a rich Protoss every game, I'd build all these things.
Yep, he's just gonna get a single cannon for each mineral line. At least I hope he does, because that's I think what he should be doing. And then he can just contain for a while, and you know, there's no way that Aegis has the money for a whole lot of Marauders. So
Well, Aiga's, in my opinion, I mean, he's like, he's screwed. What is he supposed to do?
I'm not. We're even seeing a robotics facility. I think
Whoa!
that's a little unnecessary, Haas. You're kind of going overboard over here. I think just getting a cannon for each mineral line.
This is the first robo facility Haas has built today, isn't it?
I think you're correct, Nate.
Yeah, look at that.
I mean, he's not gonna build a robo bay. I refuse to believe that.
I hope Aiga just sits in his base long enough that Haas is is pressing like the opening the advanced structures tab. He's like, look at all these buildings I've never seen.
I actually don't think that Aigas can win this fight. Like, he has a bunch of Marines, but that's a lot of force fields, it's a lot of Stalkers, and these Marines don't have stim. They will have in 20 seconds or so. Haas, you have to make up your mind, mate, where you're gonna fight.
He's going for that similar flank that he pulled on Coda, but yeah, there's the force fields holding those Marines away in the south position. Now they're forced back. Blink is almost done, but so is Stim.
Yep. That is actually going to be very interesting. There's still the Widowmine on the high ground that could maybe get a juicy shot off. These Stalkers are kind of trapped right now. Oh, good force fields there by Haas.
Yeah, really good pickup there to bring back these 8 Marines. Now Haas is actually stuck inside the natural of Aigas.
Words we don't normally say while we're casting.
No.
Our Protoss player is stuck in the natural of the Terran.
Yeah, that's a first, actually.
Just Hastings. I want to get that on the t-shirt.
There's so many Stalkers here.
That mine was supposed to shoot like 17 times already. Man, he doesn't even have high ground vision. Haas is such a sick puppy, Nate. He doesn't even have high ground vision.
And he didn't even know. He didn't even know, but he knew.
Forward blink going down as he's going to take out these Marines, and he should be able to take out the Medevacs as well. He's doubling the army supply of Aigas, and there's just no saving this game anymore. We're going to see another forward blink. Well, that's a half forward blink, and he should be able to take out the last few Marines, and we will go to a deciding match over here, Nate.
Yeah, it seems like it, Kev. The Stalkers blink into the main base. Once again, reinforcements are here. GG is called. And Haas...
Guess first though, Nate. Like, I don't think builds like this are smart against a player like Haas. Both games that Aigas won, he won off the back of a lot of Marines with just +1 and sit on one base. I feel that is just so good against all the potential cheeses.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to gas first against someone like Haas.
I mean, as much as I like gas firsting, like there's like a way that it works, a way that it doesn't, but
feel like
focus should always be to just get 2 bases and stim against this. That's what has won. If we like look at all the games won against Haas today, lots of Marines, stim. There was no game that was won today with siege tanks, pure Vikings, battle cruisers, nothing weird. It was just Marines. And then he moved out right before Stim finished. Like,
yeah, that was kind of awkward as well. I don't think it would have really made a difference if you see a display, but maybe if he stims forward and the forces are late,
and the Vikings are landed. Like, there's so many other few things that could have maybe worked
and still,
together.
shout out to him baiting this mine. Like, I was looking at that mine. That mine was supposed to shoot 17 times already. Haas, no high ground vision on a certain point. It's just like, I know there's a mine. I smell mines, Nate.
That was actually disgusting. And then, he had everything he needed to smash the face in of Aigas in this last fight.
Like, if someone would do that against you on ladder, like trigger a mine from the high ground without high ground vision, you're like, Battle.net, Blizzard, I found a map hacker. Like, this Protoss over here.
Well, he did see the mine from the high ground earlier.
Before, I know, but he couldn't know if it was still there or not.
Yeah, that's true. That was like, well, Haas has had a lot of those Star Sense moments today, though.
We're gonna close things out. We're gonna close out the entire WCS action over here in America. 4 groups, 4 days long. We've seen a bunch of amazing games. It's all gonna come down to a final best of 1 on Moonlight Madness to determine who is going to be the 8th player to advance to the round of 16.
This is it, Roddy. One last map here in America for the World Championship Series round of 32 in the northeast position. Spawning as your blue Terran player, we have Aigas from Root Gaming. Coming all the way from Australia. And he goes up against his nemesis of this group. Representing Yoi Flash Wolves, it's Haas. The man of cheese.
Aigas does have a little bit of a history of when it comes to playing slightly unorthodox Protoss players. I believe it was the round of 16 or a round of 32 before when he played against Maxed back then, and Maxed did this really weird timing with, you know, just a bunch of Colossus Blink Stalkers after opening up with a bunch of Phoenixes, having no forges, and then just like a pressure turned into an all-in, and Igus just went to Twitter and he's like, this really doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry I wasn't ready for the 2-base all-in transitioning into 3-base Mass Colossus Stalker, no upgrade style, you know. And now he has to go up against Haas. It's been one hell of a ride so far, Nate.
Yeah, it has certainly been
What?
out there.
Now Haas is the one scouting for proxies. He's like, just in case my opponent decides to 11-11 me in the final game. The irony there. That's
and
amazing.
he's actually thoroughly checking.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Haas is finally sweating it a little bit. He's like, am I actually going to do it? He's like, I'm going to do it. It's going to happen.
Double assimilator is being wiped in. Who's actually going to find this SCV here? That's not nice, by the way. When you want to cheese as a Protoss, and I think it's safe to say that Haas would like to cheese, you never want to give your opponent the confirmation that there is a probe out there on the map, because it's more likely they will be looking for it. I think it's going to proxy a factory, Nate, and it could work, but I really don't like it that much. I really feel he should just play with a lot of Marines, a lot of Rex units early on.
This was actually what I was talking to you about before we started the game.
Yeah, he's gonna proxy a factory on one
this,
base.
This barracks into 13 gas. I was actually chatting with Igas and Masa before this series even started, so it's going to be a proxy factory play, and it's going to be up against proxy Stargate play.
It's not even super quick. Like, it's not a 3-minute sharp factory. It's 3 minutes and 30 seconds because Igas was a little bit worried.
Well, you get more Marines by doing it
of
this
course.
way.
No, I understand the Marine part. The biggest problem is though that the Oracle could still... Okay, he's getting a super quick eBay. Like, this is one
This is the kind of build
Yeah,
order
yeah.
that makes no sense at all
I
in
know.
a normal game.
Exactly. Guys, if you're at home, if you're that ambitious Terran trying to go from Diamond League into Master League, and you're like, alright, let's copy Igus' build, don't copy this build. Like, nothing about
Like
this
half
is
your
good.
games you'll win for free against this weird build,
Yeah.
and then people call you map hacker. The other half, you're gonna lose, and you're gonna be like, why doesn't this build work?
Yes. Why does nothing over here? So it does make a tiny bit of sense. Of course, Haas doesn't know yet that this is going on. But I think the moment he sees the main base, he will know exactly it's going on. And it all comes down to that mine, right? The first mine, I do think it will shot. I think it will make its way into the mineral line. But the biggest question is, how many probes will it kill?
Yeah, that's the most important part. The Oracle is on the way. Second pylon looks like it's gonna be dropped by it.
Again though, with a build like this, Igus is gonna get super late stim, unless he has ambitions to get stim on one base, which I wouldn't even mind that much. Oh, does he see that? I don't think the probe saw it.
Okay, not entirely aware of that Widow Mine making its way into his mineral line. Now he should definitely be aware.
He's been quite slow with his minimap a couple of times. Haas is still not reacting to anything.
Target.
That's gonna be 4, 5, 6 probes.
There we go.
Oh my
6
god,
probes.
6.
That could be what Igas needs now.
Yep.
And that makes it so much more difficult. Look at this, he starts a starport and a
The
second
Widow Mine
barracks.
is gonna try to intercept the Oracle.
Oh,
That's not gonna happen.
boy. Well, the Oracle could actually just kill the mine as well. That's another reasonable option, and he will. It's like, oh, okay.
Okay, so this proxy factory gave him 6 probe kills. Oh, he has no energy!
He's just running. He's like, ha! You can't kill me.
Oh, and it's gonna shoot again now. It's gonna kill 4 probes.
Oh!
Two.
Okay, just
well
two.
done
Run!
there by Haas.
Run, you mine. There you go. He's hi, Oracle don't have energy. Then you run into the mothership.
Oh my
core.
god, he's mining minerals right now with only 12 probes. Haas took a lot of damage from that start.
Not a fun place to be, Roddy.
Of course, okay, so right now Haas is just doing everything on one base.
This is,
Or
this
excuse me,
is
Igus
actually so sick. Igas just like, you know what, man? I actually just want to take a page out of Ruff's book. And Haas is like, I've never played Ruff before. I don't know what to do.
Well, he's gonna bring the factory home. Haas is going to expand for now. He's down 7 workers, and of course, you know what goes for Igas. Igas won't have stim for a while. Yeah, that's true. But Haas won't have anything for a while, you know. And this is a great scout, by the way, for Igas. If I'm Igas right now, I drop a tech lab, I research stim, and as soon as I have 2 medevacs, Nate, I just run across the map and I win.
Yeah, that
Solid.
sounds like a pretty good move.
Or even before that. But that's
he's-
risky.
He's trying to get out some more Widow Mines, getting another medevac.
Look at this saturation. Like it's
I'm
an
just-
8-minute mark, and it's like 13 probes mining minerals.
It's like I've seen so much, but I still don't know what I'm looking at.
Oh, getting 2 pilots over here, that's quite juicy. The Oracle still won't be able to really get a whole lot done. There's a command center going down for Igas. I mean, I can understand you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, but I think if this was a ladder game, Nate, he would have just tried to win this game on one base.
Maybe. Yeah, probably. You don't have that many options at this point. I still think that bio scales so well once you get Stim and Medivacs. Like, it's not a bad move to try to get that Expo up, especially because Haas has done a really good job at defending. Like, it's happened already where Aiga's made a big Stim push off one base and it failed miserably, so...
The Oracle is very close to all the Marines in the middle of the map, but he didn't see it. He is going to see the Viking, though. Man, Aigas is going to try to come in from via the rocks. I don't think there's any detection at home yet. The units are a little bit out of position. The Mothership Core is out of position. This Widow Mine is going to land, Nate, and should be able to get a couple probe kills. Could also shoot at a probe that goes into the assimilator. Be careful.
Okay,
that's
two. That's actually not... Considering where it was burrowed, that's actually a pretty good pickup.
What is he going to do with the robotics facility? Are we going to see Haas make a Colossus, Nate? Do you believe?
I don't believe it.
Nah.
He's going to build an observer. He's gotten lazy with the Oracle.
I mean, right now, Aigas, despite the fact that he's been on one base for the majority of his game, he's still up in workers. He's up 4 or 5 workers. Aigas is, I mean, at first, Mindshot really skilled things in his favor. He killed 11 probes throughout the game. 6, of course, by that first Widow Mine.
Yeah, I feel really good for Aigas in this game. The problem is, like you said, you know, it's like, is he going to build a Robo for Bay and go Colossus? No.
Widow Mine
That's
is
not
going
what
to
he does.
double Widow Mine drop. The one in the main base didn't really kill a whole lot. This one will kill 4 or 5, so 6 probes in total gone down. Aigas is just setting himself up here for victory. He's doing a lot of things right. Something very strange has to happen for Haas to win this game. And then, of course, if any Protoss has weird things happen in his games, in general, it's Haas.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
He's not taking care yet of that second mine.
He has the observer, but where is it?
Why is he...
That second mine is just going to shoot again. I don't think he even realized there is a mine. Well, yeah, he did realize.
No, okay. Barely dodged. He's like, he actually doesn't know usually what to do with observers.
Yeah.
He's like, I built one, but I don't actually know what they look like. He's like, which one of my units is the detector?
You know, it's like Dex's laboratory. What does this button do? You know, like he's looking at the unit. He's like, no, send it across the map. That's really about the choice. A robotics bay. Boom. It's gonna bring the Oracle home instead.
It's happening.
And the observer. Hey man, since the Colossus count, since the Marine count is so high and the Marauder count is so low, if he gets out a Colossus, which I don't think he should be able to get out, this is a lot of bio. Army supply 44 against 19. I have no idea how Haas is supposed to make it to a Colossus, but if he gets out Colossus, the dream is alive.
I don't believe in the dream right now, Roddy.
Okay.
I think Aiga's going to punch it in right here. I mean, he has a very good chance to do so.
He does know it's coming because he has an observer above this
He has
army.
enough force fields to buy himself, what, maybe half a minute, close to a minute?
Yes, double photon overcharge. Cannon is a little bit out of position, another mine drop. Really good play, by the way. Oh, 5 more workers have gone down. And now he's going to stim forward. Is he paying attention? Yes, force fields will go down. The Voidray might go down. Photon overcharge is being casted as well, so that's well done. But, you know, during all this, he killed 5 probes again.
Yeah, I mean, but those pickups are all that he needs. This Oracle killed a bunker, I guess. That's kind of cool.
Also not something we see every day, Nate.
Well, you mentioned it. He is on his way now to the Big Daddy Colossus. That Widow Mine, I think, was still in his mineral line for a while, but
Stalker's taking care of it.
Did not blow up again.
Does Haas see this Widow Mine over here? He has an observer somewhere. He's going to bring it back, yes. So he's going to be able to take it.
But still, 38 probes to 46 SCVs. Nobody wants to be...
So the only thing that Aigas goes up to 3cc, and I don't like that, Nate. I think he should go up to second starport. I think that's a much better choice.
Yeah.
Because you know that Haas is not going to go up to 3 bases. Him making Colossus, that is a small miracle by itself. But you know, lightning never strikes twice in the same place, Nate. He's not going to go 3 base and Colossus in the same game.
No. That's at that point, you know, okay, that's it. We just hang it up. We're like, okay, guys, we've actually seen it all now. You know, I don't think there's anything. There's no more surprises left in StarCraft for me.
No, we're done. You know, out of the swarm, we're done. We're gonna play Legacy of the Void.
We've literally seen everything at that point.
Yes. So I really think that all that Aigas needs to win this game is a bunch of Vikings. But if one starport, it's gonna be a little bit harder to get that critical mass. Did he ever see the Robo Bay, by the way, Nate? Like, these are things that normally matter. He did see the Robo Bay. So he knows that this is an option. Of course, most likely what will happen is that Haas is going to go for a massive 2-base all-in, and Aigas is going to go for a counter drop, and it's going to turn into a weird base trade scenario. Okay, there is the second starport. But it's late, Nate.
It's stuck.
It's stuck and it's late.
He's also supply blocked for quite some time, too. A couple of those depots just finishing up now. He wasn't building any Medivacs or Vikings.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If this was a normal game, I would still say that this is like a very uninspiring Protoss all-in. And I think Haas, or the Protoss in this case, would be super dead. But Haas being a master in these weird scenarios, I'm not 100% convinced yet. I mean, Aigis is up 30 supply, but a lot of the supply, you know, is not very good against the Colossus, Blinkstalker, Sentry all-in.
Yeah, that's the one thing I definitely have to agree with you on. There are a ton of Marines, but I still think that Aigis should...
Oh, those mines, by the way, there are a lot of mines over here on the right side of these stalkers.
Everything in my brain right now is telling me that this should be the dream for Aigis.
Does Haas see that? He should see that, right?
He's so close.
I mean,
no,
normally
he should just blink right there onto that spot, I think.
You don't expect this. He's gonna move the observer forward, maybe? He should have vision of it real soon. I mean, Aigis is up 40 supply, which normally that's... Oh, maybe he's gonna flank with the observers? With the Widow Mines? No.
Maybe.
Right, so it's 2 Colossus. Is there Colossus number... Oh, 3 Colossus, actually. How many Vikings we're looking at? Right now, only 2. Aigis is setting up a big flank. Nate, this is still going to be a little bit risky. I know Aigis has a lot more supply. The Vikings has to be very careful with that.
He's going to put all his chips in one basket. He's force fielding away the right side so those SCVs cannot come help. One Colossus immediately knocked down. The Stalkers blink under to prevent them from getting on top of him, but the second Colossus is getting very low. The Vikings continuing to press forward. He's killed off most of the Marines, but these SCVs with the Marauders, with those Vikings should be able to knock them all down. All the Colossus are dead, and Aigis will continue to march across the map, trying to march to the round of 16.
Yeah, that's all that Aigis needed. Great flank there. Haas just saw it a little bit too late. Dropped a couple of force fields, but the Vikings, they were there. Those 3-4 Vikings, they made the difference as well. Good force fields, but it wasn't enough because he was just so far out of position. And now a bunch of Blinkstalkers have to save this game for Haas. Well, it's hard to imagine that is going to happen, Nate.
No, I don't think so, Kev. They're on the run. Aigis are just chasing them down. Hunting for some wildlife here. But Haas does not have many more moves left.
Nope, no Mothership Core, no Colossus. Well, he's gonna have 1 Colossus soon, but the Marauder count right now is pretty damn healthy. We're looking at 14 Marauders, so Haas is gonna try to squeeze out an Immortal. Nobody wants to tap out in the final game when your WCS life is on the line, but I think this is going to be it for that crazy Protoss that we're looking at right now, as there is an army. Well, force fields. There's not too many Vikings in the mix.
I don't know, Kev.
I know, it shouldn't happen, but the Stalkers are doing some work on
he's
the other
gonna
side of the
drop
map.
on top. Is he going for style? Okay, he's gonna drop in the main. I was like, I thought he would drop on the army. Like, that'd be really gutsy. No, he just drops in the main. He's like, you know what? Screw your force field. I'm gonna go into your main base and kill you. And I'm gonna go to the round of 16. He lost a lot of supply though. SCV's going down, but that army is still quite big. Aigis.
If there was a Mothership Core right now, I'd be super worried, but there isn't. And that Observer, of course, is going to be that Widow Mine is going to be useful. The robotics facility is gone, so no more Colossus. It's gonna be the Blinkstalkers that have to do it for you. Why is this getting so weird, Nate?
I don't know, Kev. There's the Widow Mine. The Probe draw bunched up, gets them all out of them at the same time. There's the Colossus. It will be knocked down. The probes come off the main base mineral line 2, trying to clean up the bio. Actually causes a big pickup. Blinks forward, grabs a medevac or 2. Gets most of it. I don't know if there's any detection left to grab that burrowed Widow Mine, but a bunch of Stalkers are actually going to clean up the 3rd command center outside towards the southeast side.
Right now we're looking at 9 Marauders against 21 Blinkstalkers. Haas has picked up that orbital command. Aigis has lost so many SCVs as well. He has 15 SCVs left.
I believe in a thing called Mule though, Roddy. There's just one observer on the map as well.
20 Stalkers against 10 Marauders. It's really important
but
that
there's 7 medevacs.
I know, but it's really important though. Haas is trying to... Oh, okay. This really hurts Haas. Haas ends
concussive shell.
Oh my god.
Too good.
Why didn't he blink via the south side? Haas just lost 5-6 Stalkers. 7.
That's got to be it now.
Just when he made this game kind of close again, Nate, he loses 7
no,
Blinkstalkers.
he's running into the mine. That's unfortunate.
8.
Well, yeah, I think Aigis has, especially after that last trade, he has certainly...
I'm never gonna say that again. There is a Mothership Core at home. Aigis is still up a lot of supply. He's up 20-30 army supply. He's gonna drop a bunch of units on top here, main base. How good is Photon Overcharge, Nate?
It's good, but not that good.
Well, there are Blinkstalkers counterattacking again. Aigis has 4 SCVs left. Are we going to... Do we have enough energy for Photon Overcharge? Not yet. No, he needs 10 more energy. This Nexus is probably gonna die before Photon Overcharge. So this could turn into a weird base trade. The orbital's
He doesn't
floating
have any
away.
probes out on the map, right? No, there's no probes on the map. He needs to get out of there. He actually needs to escape with his probes and try to get some buildings, I'd imagine.
Oh, he's going to Photon Overcharge in his natural then, I guess. But
I don't see that stopping this army. It's going to try. But I'm more concerned with what's going on in Aiga's base. He does have buildings that are floating away, at least his orbitals, so he shouldn't be forced into that weird base trade thingy.
Every stalker counts so much. He should try to evacuate these 3 stalkers. Haas could have had 10, 11 stalkers more than he's actually working with.
He has no probes either, so now it's over for Haas. He
he
cannot
can't
do
win.
anything else.
He can tie, but he can't win.
Well, 12 stalkers, no.
I know,
man.
it should never happen, but
Aiga's had to fight really hard, a very stressful series against an opponent who had already defeated him at the start of today's broadcast, but our Australian Terran will be going to the round of 16. He will be joining everyone else this week so far in Poland, as there's no Kev.
1 unit at a time, Nate. A Blink Stalker and a Dream.
I gotta give Aiga's credit for defeating this madman. I can't.
He wants to scan and kill the observer, and then he knows that he can start mining. Like, Aiga doesn't even have to kill these buildings immediately. All he needs to do is kill this observer and enjoy his high ground.
Yeah, there's the scan, boom.
Very well done. Now he can just sit on the high ground. He doesn't have to rush. He's mining at home, Nate. He's going to be building SCVs one at a time. He's going to drop a mule. And
his last pennies are spent on a Zealot, and now the Stalkers are going to get pushed back once again. That's it. No. Aiga's just going to kill everything as he gets his hands on it. Those Marauders of Concussion Shell, more than enough. GG! Aiga's cheering, fist pumping as he moves on to the round of 16 here at the World Championship Series Premier League.
That's how you react when you've just defeated a madman, Nate. Well done by Aigas. Once again, he will advance to the round of 16, back-to-back appearances, and he is indeed going to Poland. Congratulations to the man from down under. Man, he's been really consistent, Nate, over the past few seasons.
Yeah, really, really big win for Aigas in this match. As we talked about earlier, you know, he dropped that first series against him, then he had to eliminate his teammate, Haas. Put up a good fight, but, you know, he was the guy that, after you watched just a few of his games, you had a pretty good idea of what you would be up against. Aiga's made a couple of questionable choices, I'd still argue, in this series, but they worked out, so more power to you.
That final game as well, so many weird moments. And when we thought it was absolutely over, Haas suddenly turned it around, and then we'll always ask ourselves the question, if he wouldn't have lost those 7 stalkers at the bottom, where he could have just blinked them over the debris, then with 20 stalkers against 9 marauders, maybe the dream is alive. But, you know, this day just had a little bit of everything. You can say what you want about Haas, you love him or you hate him. I think most people kind of love him in a hatey way, you know.
Yeah,
but he does
you
bring...
love to hate him.
Yeah, but he does bring a lot of entertainment. He did it last season.
It's fun to watch.
He did it this season. It's
maybe not fun to play against, though.
No, I can imagine I'd be rather frustrated playing against him, but he definitely brings a lot of entertainment and a lot of joy to the broadcast.
Yeah, so we have 2 more Terrans moving on to the round of 16 from Group D. That's it's been a good week, Kev. Been a good week. Good casting again with you. Some WCS, the dream, you know. A lot of Terrans.
Yes, and they needed it as well, because not a whole lot of Terrans advanced just yet. Either way, Aigas has made it to the desk, and of course we want to hear what he has to say about that best of 3 in particular.
Well, Roddy, in some ways, maybe he has a lot to say. In some ways, maybe he doesn't have much to say because he just got through an exhilarating game. I mean, we saw you just cheering, and you were just kind of out of breath. You were like, oh, finally, it's all over, and I get to move on to the round of 16. Congratulations, sir. Let's start with that. I mean, you had to have that rematch against Haas, and I don't think really anyone really wanted to be in those shoes of having to play against Haas style over and over again, but you figured it out. And you took him down at the end. How good does it feel to be moving on to the round of 16 once again?
Pretty bloody fantastic, really.
Yeah. I mean, last season you were saying, "Oh, well, you know, I'm pretty content. I'm just as far as I can be. You know, I'm very happy to be in the round of 16." And you seemed like you had everything in the world you wanted in season 2. But this season, does it mean anything more? Maybe just because of the group you had to get through to get there.
Yeah, sure. I guess. Well, like the thing is, every season at WCS I do a little bit better. Like I did round of 32 a couple times, then I got round of 16, and now I've done 16 again, so I guess I got to get round of 8 this time. Has to happen.
Yeah, sounds definitely like a plan for you. I mean, Chris, you've casted some of the games. I mean, we were watching a lot of the games, and I think everyone in the audience here at home, it was tense for a number of reasons, but what did you have to say about Aigis' games today, especially, I mean, 2 matches against Haas?
Yeah, I was talking to actually Masa behind stage. I think it was during game 2, and he said that he told you he thought that strategy would do well.
Yeah, he said it never lost. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, and you unfortunately lost that game. Do you feel like the strategy is bad against what Haas does, or do you feel like you made a mistake, or? Because you of course saw that second Nexus eventually. You threw down that scan, and then I'm sure in your mind you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah. I was just hoping he flew his Oracle into a Widow Mine.
That's so a hope and a prayer. And then of course you were doing this too the whole time in every matchup, far ahead, super far behind. You went for these small flanks, and I gotta say that honestly, it looked like a risk to do these kind of things, these maneuvers with the flanking Medivacs and Bio.
Yeah, well, like when he's got enough sentries, he'll just throw down enough force fields back up and just trade like crazy efficient until the force fields wear off. This way forces him to fight.
Right.
Yeah.
And like in game 1 it was in game 1 it wasn't a problem because I was like way ahead.
Yeah. It didn't matter. Game 1 you could have pulled
like,
SUVs.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Game 2 I was not. Game 2 I was not ahead.
Yeah, in game 3, I mean, you made that flank work really well, of course, near the end of the game, where you just completely crushed his army and sent those sentries just flying and running back home, trying to hold on to dear life. But as you said, as we see that moment here, I mean, you just come up here on the high ground, try to take control of that, and then your Vikings come forward.
And you had a great engagement here. This is where I would say it definitely paid off as well. But later in this game, when you guys were kind of base trading at the beginning before you caught those 7 stalkers on that bottom right-hand side, it was actually a lot closer than I think you would have imagined. I'm not, like, we have all that information.
No.
Did you feel it in game? Because as a player,
I was freaking the hell out.
Were you? Because
you were like that fight.
You were ahead. You were
I'm
like,
yep, good. All
got
dead.
it.
He's on 2 base. He's got nothing. I just go to his base and kill him.
And I'm talking to
And that didn't
Chobra.
happen.
Yeah, I'm talking to Chobra. I'm like, yeah, he's in great position. I guess has this game. And then you pushed in, of course, a few minutes later.
Yeah,
and then you kind of traded and you pulled SCVs. The stalkers were cutting off units, and I was like, all of a sudden you're in a lot of trouble. Here, obviously you feel he'll good.
Honestly, here, I think if he has DTs, I'd be in
A little bit of trouble.
I was freaking out. I was like, oh crap, he's got a Dark Shrine. That's why
you
I
never
traded.
know. It's Haas.
But you...
Well, I mean, okay, it's
you
hard.
stuck
It's a
with it.
safe bet, but like,
I mean, you did close it out, right? You stuck it out. But it's great to hear that, just the story behind it, where you were sitting there, and from a spectator's standpoint, we see everything, and we're like, all right, well, he definitely has this game. But to you, it was like, oh, shoot, does he have DTs and whatnot? But you made it through. You can relax now. It's all behind you. Going towards the round of 16. Once again, congratulations. We will be seeing you in Poland playing in the round of 16. So, ladies and gentlemen at home, let's take a look at what Aigis had to go through. And, of course, Marine Lord from Group D to get to that point in the round of 16 where we'll see them play again in Season 3 of the WCS Premier League. Marine Lord started his match with Masa, and he had a little bit of a bump in Haas, but still made it through as most people expected. On the other side, though, Aigis, bit of a rough patch in the very beginning, but climbs back through after battling Masa, and then gets that rematch against Haas. A satisfying victory. Aigis returns to the round of 16, the WCS Premier League. That is our 4 first groups of the round of 32, Chris, but we have 4 more coming up. It's going to be in Cologne, Germany, and not many Terrans, as we said, but how are these groups looking for you? Is your eye still only going to Hitman in Group G?
No, there's a lot of great matchups. I mean, these groups are action-packed. We have Little Bow, of course, the fan favorite, you know, the 4 in Hope from last season. We have Hitman in a group with Snoot, another fan favorite. 4GG being, you know, the best Korean, maybe? Question mark. He was supposed to be 2 seasons ago. He's kind of dropped the ball off this year, but last year he's definitely considered a very, very exciting time coming up in Germany.
Yeah, and of course, as you mentioned, Germany, a lot of German fans always looking to TLO. He's going to be in that last group. Well, that starts off on August 25th, ladies and gentlemen. So that will be in Cologne, Germany. You'll be able to tune in. Or if you're in Europe, if you're in Germany, definitely feel free to pay a visit to the studio, our studio out there, to catch the rest of the groups in around the 32. Well, that's it for us here in Burbank, California. Thank you so much for joining us for the whole weekend. But the WCS Premier League has just started for Season 3. We'll see you next time.